I am Michelle with two L's.
And I'm Natalie the Red.
And we are Force of Light Entertainment. And we are here to continue our spoiler episode per episode reviews of Stranger Things Season 4. Today we're going to be talking Chapter 5, The Nina Project. And I'm going to say we covered...
Let's dive in.
I covered some things in the last episode that actually happened in this episode. Because as I said, it's never been this difficult to remember what happens in each episode.
I mean, it really is like
it's a big movie,
really long movie.
It really is.
It is hard when you've gone ahead at all to keep it straight at that point.
It really is, but
we're trying.
We're trying really hard. But the big things that happen in this episode, I mean, right off the bat. You get, Paul Reiser's character from the beginning in season 2. You're like, should I trust this character?
Yeah.
Which I think they wanted to do because of his character in Aliens.
Right. And I overall feel like you can.
You can.
It's a show. I could always be wrong.
There is a curveball thrown in the beginning of this episode because there is the return of one Dr. Brenner as Dr. Owens takes 11 to the secret base. And who's behind the Nina Project? Dr. Brenner. He's alive and he's well. And he's still experimenting on kids. So
of course he's well. He's back to doing what he loves.
Nothing changed. So that was kind of a big curveball. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
And she's going to have to work with Dr. Brenner, Papa, again.
Which it is like a very strange dynamic and thing, but then tell me, and we haven't talked about this, it's almost like not all his intentions are bad. Like,
yeah,
it's a very weird, like Dr. Brenner.
But then I also have to remember that to keep his little pet project secret, he did basically, he fried 11's biological mother's brain.
Oh, he's definitely evil. But I'm saying sometimes, characters, people are very complex.
Yeah.
And it's like a part of him genuinely... Well, it's like she's this piece of machinery he's really impressed with.
Yeah.
And so it's like he does kind of try and do some things to help her, but he's a confusing character.
He is. You're like, does he have any real care for
like
11?
Redeeming qualities?
Or is it just totally, is he using 11? You guys can let us know below. We'll see by the end of the season if he's maybe a better man than he was in the 70s.
Maybe he's changed.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But yeah, you've got 11, of course, is trying to get her powers back, and she's stuck in that memory. They put her under the water, and she's stuck in that memory that we saw in the first episode. And it was like that whole scene just felt like a bad dream.
Yes, like a recurring, and like mixed with Groundhog's Day.
Yes, like she just keeps going, and that opens up into the rainbow room, and that creepy guy. What does he say? Did you sleep in? I don't know. Whatever he says.
Hello, sleepyhead.
Yeah, hello, sleepyhead.
He just definitely has a creepiness about him.
Oh, he's so creepy, like super creepy.
Lessons start promptly at 10.
And then throughout this entire episode, anything at that point dealing with 11. I'm like, is this real or is this in her memory? Like,
well, I think it was real. No, I mean, like, she's there in her memory.
No,
she's there in her memory.
No, I get that. I'm saying any point in the time where 11's in the scene, I don't know if we're stuck in the memory or if we're actually in real life. Do you get what I'm saying? That's how trippy it's getting.
Oh, it is.
Do you get what I'm saying?
But
I'm like,
I mean, I know when she's in real life, and
even
not still say that.
Even at the end of this, I was like, is this real? She's literally out of the thing, and this is real, or is she still somehow stuck in the? I mean, it's almost like Inception. It's like a dream within a dream. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's getting confusing.
Yeah, it's when she's in the water thing.
Yeah,
and like even when she's saying like I don't understand to Dr. Brenner, and he starts talking to her, and you can see he's just in the everyday, he's just in there.
Yeah,
and he's talking to her like
he's like she's swimming now.
In her memory. Yeah, he was so proud. She's swimming now.
Yeah, and he was just gonna leave her in as she goes in cardiac arrest as like a little kid. I mean,
that's
not
the
a kid,
thing about
teenager.
Dr. Brenner that's not so.
He's like, nah, just keep her in there. She's good. She's fine.
But I also think it's like, I don't know. I guess he has that much confidence that the kid can do it.
Well, and I think to him, I don't know. I don't think he cares enough.
The experiment is worth it.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. He really wants that experiment. And then so that's kind of Elle, and then two, also with Elle at the end, it seems that her powers are beginning to come back.
Yes.
They're not finished, as he basically says to her, like, did you think it would be this easy?
Yeah.
But they're starting. I mean, she gets angry and boom. I mean, the guys go. I mean, so she's starting to get her powers back, which is at least good. And you do, I think, see like Dr. Owens is like, let her out. Like,
yeah,
he's not as unreasonable because I don't think he's Dr. Brenner. I mean,
I don't think he's a bad guy.
Dr. Brenner really should go to prison, to be honest.
Oh yeah, Dr. Brenner. I mean,
Dr. Owen should not. He's actually a good guy.
Like, I think one of the good ones.
Yeah.
But because you kind of see his face when you hear Dr. Brenner talking, like coming down the stairs, like he's kind of like, oh, just like, like he knows it's not pleasant for her. So he didn't like that, of course, but it's not great.
Yes. And I guess with Dr. Owens, it's just kind of like, who can he trust too?
Yeah,
because
he's trying to help her.
Because you've got the other government agency that's trying to track them down and like take her. And I mean, at this rate, it's like, will they just kill everybody? Because they came in shooting up a house in the previous episode. So they've got that going on. And we also find out that Jonathan and them, they're going to drive to who else? But
Susie.
Susie's going to make an appearance and save the day again, I guess.
Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. We'll see if she sings the never-ending story again. We'll sing it for us for a second there. And then you got Hopper, and he's kind of really just fully blown depressed at this point.
Understandably.
He's had the failed attempt of escape. He thought he was out, and then he wasn't. And his conversation I thought was good, just kind of about the horrors of war that people go through. And of course, it's kind of that callback to season 2 where he's like, I'm that black hole. Like he's kind of back to that mental place of he says, I am a curse.
Yeah.
Like pretty much, just he's kind of at that place, just stay away from me because anyone who messes with me doesn't go well.
Because he's believing the lies. Which is kind of a theme of this in some ways.
Yeah, it kind of is. Again, back to our last episode about Max. Yeah, it kind of is. So that conversation was good. And then I really did crack up with all the Murray stuff in this episode. Anytime Murray's on, it's funny. I mean, Murray's funny in every episode. But oh my gosh. So
it's just what kind of funny is he going to be? And in this one, it was both verbal, but also physical.
And then Joyce figures out, she's like, have you ever fought before? And we find out that he got his black belt fighting like teenage boys.
He said they don't go younger than 13.
And she's like, what? And the quote, I wrote it down because I cracked up. He said, Jeremiah is a ferocious fighter, lightning fast, very skilled.
He said it, and he's 16. Well, next month, so he's 15.
So he's just trying to work up the courage to take on the guy, and they eventually do. And I will have to say,
and then Murray is a pretty good fighter.
Yeah, he actually is a pretty good fighter. But that whole thing was funny, the way he talked,
and the way he Joyce himself up,
and even Joyce's face is just like, oh, like what is this? I will have to say, I guess this would be a critique of a negative. I mean, it is. Like, Stranger Things does ridiculous things, but usually within the realm of like what you can believe within the story.
Right.
And the fact that they land that plane safely, I was like, come on, guys.
I mean,
it was like, this feels on par with like Indiana Jones at the beginning of the Temple of Doom, where he falls on a rafter from a plane and lives.
But I think, it's part of the adventurous part of the show.
It is. And it didn't bother me enough. It just, you know what I'm saying? Usually Stranger Things keeps it real to a point.
So like what the parameters with which they're working.
That felt a little out of it, but the scene was still really funny. It was funny. And then you've got the other group, and they go to that haunted house.
Yeah.
And that whole thing was just kind of creepy, them walking through it. And of course they eventually figure out at the kind of his presence is up in the attic. And
his evil presence.
It's very evil. And then we get another situation where you think Eddie is like in danger.
Yeah.
And then boom, that guy, he takes that basketball player in another situation. And you're just like, oh, every time it happens.
Every time it cracks.
Yeah, every time it crunches, your face goes, you're it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch. So I'd say that the other basketball player is going to realize Eddie did it kill that girl at this point.
We will see.
But yeah, that's kind of it as far as anything else that you think I'm forgetting as far as
Can't
this
think of
episode.
anything right now. I just know I really enjoyed this.
It was really good. So we'll rate this episode. Watching this, I give it another 5 out of 5. It was the last 2 episodes were really good. This was a very good episode. So yeah, 5 hoots.
5 hoots coming at you again for this episode.
I'm excited to see
maybe we'll surprise you for one of them, but who knows?
I'm excited to see the next 2. Well, at least of volume 1 before we have to wait
like a month.
A month to get the
but
next.
At least
the
it's
next
not
2.
that long.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But yeah, that is our thoughts on Chapter 5, The Nina Project of Stranger Things. What did you guys think? How many hoots do you give it?
Leave your thoughts and with a show like this, especially your observations down below.
Yes, definitely do that. And if you have not yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also give the video a thumbs up. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, remember to be a force of light. All right, bye guys.